Hello there, everybody. I'm Dr. Nick. No, I'm Dr. Dan. Hi, everybody. Um, Dr. Dan. Anyway, shut up, Dan. Beastman. This is from a channel called Miniature Realms. Oh, just commission painting. Oh, anyway, he's got, I think, the clearest footage of the book, so this is the potato camera I'm going for. Anyway, let's have a look at the new Beastman army book. I think there's some interesting things in it. I really like this one, the Wild Herd. I think this is pretty cool. And so, as usual, within this Arcane Journal, just in case anybody isn't aware, essentially each of the factions was released at launch, and there are some legacy factions, and all of the main factions, the ones that they are supporting, i.e. by providing miniatures, they have these Arcane Journals come out, which give us new rules, add a bit of depth to the faction. There's a lot of narrative at the front. I am thinking about doing some lore videos where I go through all that kind of narrative and bring everybody up to speed with where stuff is. So give us a thumbs up if you want to see some lore stuff. That would likely be like long form, many hours long, doing kind of research on the fly and that kind of stuff. So if that'd be interesting, then if you're interested in that, let me know, because obviously it's a decent old time investment. Right, so let's get on with the Wild Herd. So the two sub factions are basically big ambushy army, lots of models, loads of cool stuff, or Minotaur Herd, both of which are pretty cool. I don't know what other direction they could have really taken it. Typically within an Arcane Journal, you get some kind of mounted faster force, and you get some kind of other army that's a bit more sort of it's got a bit more flavour to it. So for instance, Beastmen came out, and the Exiles were combined with like this Crusade force. The Tomb Kings were next. They had essentially a Tomb King list, which is just loads of chariots and cavalry and stuff. And then they had a kind of mortuary cult thing, which was kind of like more Lich Priest based than Tomb King based. Both of which, Exiles and Mortuary Cult, have been pretty much the only two I would describe as broken factions that have been actually released. Everything else has been pretty well balanced, including this Wild Herd thing. I really rate it, actually. Would I say it's broken? No. Sorry, I'm saying it's balanced, aren't I? Yeah, Wild Herd is still pretty balanced. There's a couple of like potentially really broken mechanics, but they've controlled for it really nicely, and so well done, rules writers. These are lovely. Right. So the Wild Herd, you have 0 to 1. What I really should do is get up the. Is that going to find it? No, of course it isn't. Why would I expect some bit of technology to actually work? What a preposterous concept. Where are we? There we are. So the Grand Army. So we're allowed 0 to 1 Beastman or Great Shaman per 1,000 points. So there's no Doom Bull. You're allowed Wargors, Bray Shaman, Centaur, Chieftains. So Doom Bulls, Gore Bulls, gone. So there's no Minotaurs in this list. Now, at the moment, the super competitive Beastman list is like a big block of Ungors with a Wargore as a battle standard bearer, and the Wargore has Slug Skin, which gives the whole unit -1 to hit in combat, and then you can really kit out your Doom Bull to be this, because he gets like 3 million attacks. He's already high strength. You can make him, I think you can get him up to like 7 strength, 7 attacks, something like that. It's ridiculous what you can do with the Doom Bull. So why am I not excited about? Well, you shall see. Anyway, within core, you've got to have a single primal warherd. In the core list, it's one gore herd. A primal warherd is basically a mix of gores and ungores. I think you've got to start with 10 each from memory, but we'll get to that in a sec. Tuskgore chariot per 1,000, or Tuskgore chariots are core, so they're now limited. A Centaur herd can be taken as core per Centaur chieftain taken. That's cool. That's a new rule at the moment. I think they're just special. Yep. So these can take Centaurs if they take Centaur chieftain. So actually you could build an entire Centaur list. There is a Centaur special character as well, Gorok. So yeah, that's cool. And gore herds, and I think they're all normal. Obviously Minotaurs are gone. There's no Minotaurs here either, so the Wild Herd does not contain a single Minotaur at all. You're allowed 1 unit of Dragon Ogres and 1 unit only. At the moment, it's unlimited, but special. You're allowed Warped Gores, which are a new thing. Bestigore Herds, which are an existing thing. Harpies are an existing thing. Oh yeah, of course they are. Centaur Herds, unlimited there. Tuskgore chariots and Razorgore chariots again unlimited in special. Weren't Razorgore chariots limited or something? No, it's just in my head. Oh yeah, and the other big thing is core at least a third. It's currently 25%, but you can have up to a third rare. So you could have a third core, a third rare, and a third characters. You probably don't want to do that though, because you've only really got access to Shaggoths, Jabberslythes, Cygors, Curse Giants, and Spawn. You do not have Gorgons. They're gone too, because they're a bit kind of Minotaur allied, really. And Gorgons are pretty good. They are essentially toughness 6, 6 wounds. Only got a 6 of armor save. I think they might have regen as well. So they're reasonably tanky big monsters. 245 points is quite a lot for a big monster, but they do quite a lot of damage when they get into combat. They've got a lot of high strength, high AP attacks. So Gorgons, I think, are pretty good if you're into that kind of roaming big monster thing. They don't have Swift Stride though, so they're not that good. So the Wild Herd special rules. Let's just turn the volume off, because really all I want is to get his finger out the way. Not that I don't like. Anyway, shut up. So there's a law of primal magic. There's an item that you can give to any shaman, I think, that allows you to take spells from it. It's pretty good, actually. I think you'll want to include it. Much like in the Wood Elf book, there's a law in the Wood Elf book that is very much suited for Treeman Ancients. Not so good on a spell singer, but anyway. So in this, I think primal magic is... I think you'll just want a level 4 with primal magic in your army. Thankfully, the special character allows you to do that without the extra item. And the special character... is very good, so you'll probably want to include that as well. Anyway, so that's one of the special rules for the Wild Herd. Dark Coven is pretty cool. Basically, every within command range, right? So if you're casting a spell from a wizard, you measure your command range, right? And if there are any wizards in that command range, you get +1 to cast for each wizard in that command range. Not yourself. So if there's 2 other wizards with it, so for instance, you've got like, I don't know, let's say you've got a Great Bray Shaman General who's level 4, casting a spell. You look at the command range, so 12-inch bubble. There's 2 other wizards in there. Great, I get +2 to cast. So with my level 4, I get +6 to cast. Isn't that amazing? However, there's a very clever balance. If you roll any double, then it's miscast. So you go from a 1 in 36 chance of miscasting to a 1 in 6. That's pretty significant for the extra +2 to cast, right? Or even just +1. And then, if the spell is miscast, you roll a dice, and all of those wizards suffer the same effect. So, one of the effects is a big mortar-style explosion that does actually some decent damage. Imagine 3 of those. 1 in 6 chance of that for +2 to cast. I think I'm going to keep my wizards apart if in this list. I think I'm going to... you're going to have to save that for when you need... It's a good, high risk, high reward ploy. Like, if you've got one spell that you desperately need to get off and it's worth the risk, then you can clump them together. But, obviously if that one spell is an enchantment, you're going to have to think a bit in advance and get your stuff in order, before your next start of turn and, counter where the enemy might make you move. As in a flea or whatever. But yeah, gifts. This is why I think this is wicked, because gifts from the Dark Gods, right? You're allowed every character models may spend an additional 25 points on magic items and an additional 25 points on chaos mutations. That's mega. Hold on a second. Because an extra 25 points on mutations. Now, currently, I think all characters are allowed to spend 50 points. That means you're allowed an extra 50 points of what are essentially magic items. You've got relatively cheap heroes anyway, so that extra 50 points is huge and can make your characters a lot better. There are some decent magic items in this list, but, think about it. You've got... Basically, in your 2k list, what are you going to do? You could have 2 Great Praise Shamans, so that's 2 level 4 wizards. You're up to about 400 points. You've then got essentially 400 points of magical stuff that you could stick on them, so that you could make them worth about 400 points each for an on character, or maybe even put them on a chariot. 2 level 4 wizards on a chariot with tons of magical enhancements. That could be your 2 characters. You could take a Beast Lord, which is my preferred option. You could take a Beast Lord and a Great Bray Shaman. So one of the Great Bray Shaman, give them loads and loads of stuff. You have a Beast Lord. Again, the special character thingy, Krelmore, the Prophet of Doom or whatever. He's a level 4 wizard and is a Great Bray Shaman as well, so would take up that slot. So you could take him and a Beast Lord, which is probably what I'm going to do. And then if you do that, you've probably still got, because you Beast Lord, what is about 100 points, something like that. Is he? He's 115, and can take 100 points of magic items and 50 points of mutations. So that's now 125. So you can give him 200 points of cool stuff. You can, and obviously your general's got the Brayherd, which allows you to, if he passes a leadership test, which he should be leadership 8 because he's got warband and he should be in a big unit, probably a primal warhead, so he should be leadership 10. And if he passes that, you may roll again for ambushes. There's an item in here that allows you to give +1 to that roll. So basically, you've got there's a reasonable chance of you getting all your ambushes on turn 2, which is pretty mega. Because or not. You may roll again that did not arrive. But with the +1 thing, you can manipulate that a little bit, so make that a bit more reliable. Also, loads of stuff can get ambushes. So the fact that you've, and this is why you'd want your Beast Lord on there, so you can re-roll the stuff coming on that you really want to come on. But Goreherd, Ungor herds, primal warbands, and Centaur herds can be ambushes for 1 point a model. For most of those, that's quite expensive. Centaurs, that's ridiculously cheap. The reason that's ridiculously cheap is when you bring your ambushes on, they've got to be a distance of something. I think it's 8 or maybe 9 away. No, I'm getting my rule systems mixed up. Hold on, you. Oh no, it's not that at all, is it? What do I want? I want Old World Builder because it's got an easier rules reference. Although I have started using the other one, New Recruit, to build army lists recently, because that works pretty well too. It's just a different format. What on earth was I looking for? I can't remember now. Within a wild hunt, god herds, any number of beastmen, chieftains, and Centaur chieftains may have ambushes for 10 points, and a Gore, Ungur, or Centaur herd per 1,000 with a unit strength of 10 may be given the ambushes special rule for free. So you can have 2 little units of Centaurs, of 5 Centaur units, and they can have it for free. It's Gore, Ungur, not Primal Warband. I think actually that's because Primal Warband has ambushes in the thing, but yeah, that's pretty cool. It's annoying that you can't ambush with Warhounds, because they've upgraded Warhounds a little bit, which I quite like. So let's get past this guy's face. And I like the way he's gone through the book as well. He's gone through it in the same order I would. So Kralmor, 245 points. He is a great Bray Shaman. So it says it there. So it takes up the Great Bray Shaman, takes up a Great Bray Shaman slot. Just a reminder, a Great Bray Shaman who is level 4 is 180 points. So essentially what you're at, and I think his stats 5. I can't read that weapon skill. Does that say 3? I think it does, doesn't it? So a Great Bray Shaman is normally weapon skill 5. So I think he's down 2 weapon skill. Strength and toughness are the same. He's got an extra wound on a Great Bray Shaman, a lower initiative, and the same number of attacks, same leadership. So stat-wise, I think the extra wound is worth probably an extra 50 points. The drop of 2 weapon skill is probably worth I'd say a 40-point penalty. So he's maybe an extra, and he's dropped the initiative. So actually, stat-wise, it's probably, to be honest, I'd take Kralmor any day of the week because of the wound. I think the wound makes it better. Yeah, so it's probably worth, that stat line is probably worth about 200 points. Because he is a level 4 wizard as well, which is pretty cool. And he can take spells from Primal, says there. So he's got a Bray Staff. A Bray Staff, as a reminder, when your combat is chosen, so not when he fights, but when your combat is chosen, you select to use it either, the Bray Staff, you select to use it either as, either offensively or defensively. If you use it offensively, it's a great weapon. If you use it defensively, you get a 5-up armor save. But it doesn't count as armor. It's not armor. So he can still cast assailments and stuff like that. Or he's got a great weapon, which is pretty cool. So they're pretty decent in combat. Kralmor, of course, also has a 4-up ward save. That's worth like 50 points, easy. So we're already above 250, I think. Leering Spirit, he's got this little marker that you put on the table, and it casts the Devolve spell from Law of Beasts. Law of Beasts. Devolve, here it is. With a power level of... it can't be charged, targeted, or attacked in any way, which is brilliant. It... However, if Kralmor is removed as a casualty, then it's removed from play. During the shooting phase, in each of Kralmor's turns, the Leering Spirit marker may cast Evolve as a bound spell with a power level of 3. So that means you need a 5, so it's going to go off. Target enemy unit must take a leadership test. If it fails, you lose a number of wounds equal to the amount by which it failed the test. 15-inch range. That's pretty good. You can basically just plop this little marker in... when do you actually put it down? When Kralmor is deployed. Oh, and you've got loads of units, so you can put it down wherever you like literally in the middle of the enemy, so they can't do anything about it. So if they've got a shooting heavy army, or if they're dwarves, you're not that fussed because it's leadership test. You know, they don't fail leadership tests very often. So, you know, the likelihood is you get it off like what? If you're playing a 6-turn game, like you get, let's say you're slightly lucky-ish and get it 5 turns. On dwarves, I mean, they might fail one leadership test and lose a couple of wounds. So against dwarves, that's not so good. But against Empire, for instance, where, you know, they might have a big gun line, you could plot this down near all their war machines who are like leadership 7 or something, and, you know, probably haven't paid for the veteran upgrade. So that could do a lot of damage to something like that. Obviously, it's just a good idea to, if there's like a central objective, you can just plop it on the central objective, I think. Not within 8 inches of an enemy unit. Okay, is the thing. So actually, yes, you can put it on terrain or whatever. And just have an extra... I mean, I think it's pretty good, Leering Spirit. I quite like it. It's a bit of extra character. And then you've got this Grizzly Totem, which is a Bray Staff. In addition, all enemy units within 6 inches of Kralmor are -1 to their leadership characteristic. You've got quite a few leadership debuffs in Beastman, so I think there's probably a leadership debuff build which combines quite well with the Leering Spirit, obviously. So you actually might want to keep the Leering Spirit so it can hit, you know. So maybe you position that like where the big unit of Gauls and stuff is going to go, so you can apply multiple leadership debuffs to that enemy unit and then hit it with Leering Spirit. Because I think you can cast... I thought you could cast that into combat. Oh well. There is one that you can, isn't there? But it's not that one. So that's Kralmor. Oh, he zoomed in a bit there. Anyway, but I think he's definitely worth the points. Like, he's auto include territory? I mean, the downside is it stops you, if you want to do like a Great Bray Shaman and a Beast Lord, it stops you from basically being able to do the Vile Tide and Hag Tree. So essentially, Beastmen have got this spell called Vile Tide. It's here. 5d6 strength 1 hits, no armor saves. So it's 5d6 hits, rolling 6s to wound. So, you know, on average, 3 or 4 wounds, right? They have an item called Hag Tree Fetish, which is like 30 points. It's quite cheap, which allows you to re-roll those wound rolls. So you go from like 3 wounds to about 5 or 6 wounds a turn on average. So that goes from being quite painful to enough to kill a giant, which is pretty mega. So Vile Tide is really disgusting with Hag Tree Fetish because it allows you to re-roll wound rolls on magic missiles. And obviously if you've gone for Spell Law with another magic missile in, that's pretty cool too. So that's Kralmor. He's gone for Goros next. Did he go through the other faction at some point? That's... Oh, no, this is the Minotaur Bloodherd. Yes. So let's go back and have a look at the Minotaur Bloodherd. So, the Minotaur Bloodherd, you're allowed a Doom Bull per 1,000, so you can have 2. 1 Bray Shaman per 1,000. No Great Bray Shaman, which is why I don't like it. Gorbals, Wargoyles, Centaur Chieftains, as much as you like. 1 Minotaur Herd per 1,000 points is your core, so you've got to have 2 in a 2k list. You can have a Herdstone. We haven't done the Herdstone. There's a Herdstone. You actually, it's scenery, and you have to pay for it. It costs 100 points. It is pretty good, though. I quite like it. So that's a Minotaur Horde. Maybe we're going to cover it later. Right, and then you can have... So normally, Herdstone is a special choice with the Beastmen. Now, this is weird, because they've increased the core component as well. But allowed you to take a Herdstone as your core. So in a 2k list, you've basically got to find 560 points of models if you've plopped the Herdstone in. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Pardon me. You're allowed 0 to 1 Dragon Ogres per 1,000, which I think is the same as currently. I don't know why I'm sounding like Tom, the comedian fellow. Mm. Um, what was I looking at? Oh yeah, Dragon Ogres. No, Dragon Ogres are just unlimited special, so they're limited here, 0 to 1 per 1,000. Harpies, Minotaur herds. Oh, that's interesting. So you get one Minotaur herd per 1,000. So you must have two and only two Minotaur herds as core choice, and then you can take more as special if you want. Weird. And then rare, you're allowed. Oh, you're not allowed Gorgons. What? Oh no, Gorgons are in. I was going to say Gorgons and Minotaurs, they go together. I don't know why, but they do. So yeah, Gorgons are now. Oh, that's pretty spicy, actually, isn't it? Gosh, imagine actually. Oh, actually. So you could have a. So you can probably fit a Doom Bull and a couple of Minotaur herds and a herd stone and get all of that to come to 1,000 points, and then buy four. Oh no, you normally only have three of a unit in a 2K tournament, aren't you? So you could have like three Gorgons, a couple of characters. In fact, you could have a Doom Ball, a Bray Shaman with one of the new magic items, which makes it really useful defensively. And just a ton of Gorgons and a couple of Minotaur herds. I quite like that list, actually. Anyway, they've all got impetuous Doom Balls, Gore Balls, Minotaur, and Gore herds. Gain impetuous, which is a bit rubbish because it means you've got to charge when you don't want to sometimes. However, if the general becomes frenzied as a result of blood rage, that's pass a leadership test and roll a double. So he's probably within this one at his native leadership most of the time, because he's not going to have rank bonuses, because there's not a, unless you do take an Ungor. In fact, you could still do what and in fact, Gore Balls can now be battle standard bearers as well, which is pretty cool. So you could have a Doom Ball or a Gore Ball in a unit of Ungors. Yeah, and a couple of cheap Minotaur herds, and then 3 Gorgons. Because then that gives him rank bonus, which means he's more likely to do this. So if you think about it, I think his native leadership is 8. So you've got double 1, double 2, double 3, double 4. So you've got a 4 in 36 chance. If you increase his leadership to 10, you've got a 5 in 36 chance of getting that double and pass result, which gives him frenzy. In the Minotaur, so basically when he starts combat, every character and every unit, I think, in Beastman have this primal fury rule. They take a leadership test at the start of the combat, and if they pass, they get to reroll ones to hit, basically. Blood Rage says if you roll a double on that and pass, then the Minotaur character gets frenzied and can become frenzied even if they've lost frenzy, blah, 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 blah. All friendly units within command range will also become frenzied, and I assume can also be frenzied if they've already previously lost it or whatever. So that's wicked, because frenzying up your entire army just by rolling one double, yes, there's like a 1 in 6 chance of getting it, so it's not tremendously likely, but it is possible. Guardians of the Herdstones, Doom Balls and Gore Balls can take Chaos Mutations up to a total of 50 points. They currently can't. So that makes them pretty cool as well, and it gives them more stuff to buy. And the general of the must be a Doom Ball or a Gore Ball. For 35 points, he can be level 1, or for 65 can be level 2 wizard, and can wear armor without penalty. So actually, you don't need to do the Bray Shaman, do you? Because you can still do, because it would just be a wizard. You could just make your general a wizard. Oh, I'm liking this even more. Apart from the fact that I really hate the Minotaur models. Mostly because whoever sculpted them has no idea how anatomy works. Like, sorry, can I just rant a little bit? Oh, no. Right, let's look at these. Or you could use the Ogroids, actually. They're pretty nice. Where's the bloody... Oh, God. So dumb. Yeah, look. What is that muscle? What is that? That's not how that... Like, because if you had a muscle that came around the front of the leg and it contracted, it's going to... But it's like attached down at the ankle and at the back of the... So as that contracts, it's going to twist the leg around. In fact, if that muscle's strong enough, it's basically just going to break his ankle. Like, there's a reason that muscles almost always run straight, right? They run in straight lines because all they do is contract longitudinally. They don't twist or do anything like that. They just do that. They just pull stuff in and then relax and pull in. That's all they do. So that is just going to contract that way, which is going to pull the ankle up to the back of the... So, yeah, it's going to contract. It's basically just going to... So, there's no... And also, they've got no muscle actually lifting their foot up. So, they can't... They're just balked. And, like, that's not how abs look. Like, what is going on here? Why has he got 2 sets of obliques? Like... I know this might seem ridiculously trivial. They were better. Right, that's the old one. That's the one from the 90s. This stuff, like, look at it. It's so stupid. Like, and what is... I know it's chaos, but, like, that is just... I'm sorry, but it's just these legs of just... I don't know, maybe I should get them and just carve that off and do it properly. But, like, seriously, Games Workshop, why have you re-released these balked contraptions? Like... You've got these things that you've already... Like, these are okay. They're pretty... I don't like the faces because they don't look like bulls. They haven't got bull faces. They've got, like, weird man faces. Like, sort of evil green man sort of faces. I don't... Thankfully, however, there are loads of manufacturers out there that make... fairly decent proxies. That looks nice, doesn't it? Oh, look, and no weird freaking muscle that makes absolutely no sense because that's not how anatomy works. And why haven't they got like bull legs like every other Minotaur? Why have they given them like sort of weird cloven hoof foot leg things? Like, I know it's chaos, so like, you know, but that's cool. There's so much... Anyway, there's so much cool stuff that you can buy nowadays, isn't there? There really is. Oh, that is pretty nice. Right, anyway. Shut up, Dan. Get on with it. So, that's that faction. Then we've got... What's that? That's Wild Herds. Yeah, we did that one. We've done the character. There we go. Right, and then Goros, Warhoof, 155 points. A normal Centaur Chieftain, which I should bring up for reference here, so you can just have a quick look at that. I'm trying to make it large so people on mobile devices can actually read. Right, so movement's the same, weapon skill same. One more point of initiative, one more point of leadership for an extra 80 points. So I guess one more point of initiative and one more point of leadership, you'd give an extra like 20, 30 points. So it's probably worth 100 points for his stat line, or maybe 95. So he's got the Father of Beasts. Whilst within command range, friendly Centaur herds may reroll the d6 when rolling on the Drunken table. Where is the Drunken table? Is it in special rules? I bet it's in special rules, isn't it? Here you can watch my struggle too, trying to find the bloody special rules. They're at the end, aren't they? So that's before them. Oh, not quite at the end. Where's Drunk? Let's go to the gods. Drunk! 1 random move, d6 plus 2. Actually, sometimes you'd want that. 2, no effect. 6, frenzy. Just for the next turn, though. I mean, re-rolling, that's okay. I mean, it allows you to avoid a 1 when you don't want it, I guess. You can't really... I mean, 6 re-roll fails. You go from, like, a 1 in 6 to a... I guess sort of a 2 in 6, isn't it? So you kind of... But still, it's still unlikely. Sons of Goros, 1 in 0 to 1 Centaur herd in the same muster list as Goros may be upgraded. For 2 points a model, they get +1 weapon skill, taking them up to weapon skill 5, I think, and leadership, taking them up to leadership 8, I think. And game armor bane 1. Armor bane 1, +1 weapon skill and leadership for 2 points. Pretty juicy, apart from the fact that they're crap already, so you wouldn't really want to do that. Oh, where the bloody hell have they gone? There they are. Oh no, wrong way. Oh, for God's sakes. There we go. I thought I'd just flick past them. Turns out not. So, there's your Centaur stuff. So, movement 8. They're allowed shields. That's it. That's the only armour they got. So, they're just toughness 4, no armour, basically. Drunk, fast cavalry, horde, mark of chaos undivided. So, they can reroll panic tests. Move through cover is pretty decent. Open orders... Okay, combined with fast cavalry, basically what that means is you can move, you can do a march and then you get a free pivot at the end. Primal Fury, we've discussed. Skirmishers, you can take them as skirmishers. Yeah, but they're not unit strength 1, so they're not -1 to hit, so it just gives you a bit more movement flexibility, sort of. They got a stomp each, strength 4, no AP, that's okay. And they have Swift Stride. I think they're pretty much, apart from maybe a couple of monsters, the only thing in your army that has Swift Stride. Yeah, I think stuff like the Praeton and the winged monsters. I think the Cockatrice has got Swift Stride. Both of which are not so great in combat, so you probably, yeah, you might want to take some Centaurs just so you got some stuff with Swift Stride, really. And you got the skull of the unit. That was really loud. Sorry. You got the skull of the Unicorn Lord. Which means you've got a 6 at ward save against non-magical and 5 at ward save against magical. And then finally he's got Man Smasher, which is this big stick with a couple of massive nails in it, basically. So it puts him up to strength 6, which is nice. Makes him AP 1. He's got armor bane 1, magical, multiple wounds D3. That's a reasonably decent weapon, actually, as well. So sort of. I mean, it won't have any effect on dragons, but you know they're not the only thing that exist. So yeah, if you like Centaurs, you're going to like him. My reservation really is that he's basically got no save, and he's at 3 wounds, toughness 4, practically no save. Seems flimsy. I don't know how you're going to get value out of him, really. You're going to... Oh, actually, that's one thing I was going to check. Has he got ambushes? He hasn't got ambushes, no. So he can't go off with the ambushing unit of Sons of Goros. The fact that he's bringing his boys to a fight, though, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, I like that. Right. Oh, no, hold on. I wanted to do primal gauze first. That's warped gauze. Warped gauze. Here we go. Zoom in. Primal war herds. Right. So this is the new, like, core unit. All the stat lines are... Hold on, I'll just check. I think I checked and they were exactly the same. I just remembered I didn't check leadership. Or I can't remember whether leadership was the same. Yeah, leadership points, everything's exactly the same. However, you have unit size 10-10. Now, the first 10 is for Gauls, and the second 10 is for Ungauls. You're allowed as many of those as you like. You have them in combination. Mixed unit, basically, before rolling to wound, hits caused by enemy shooters should be divided as evenly as possible between Gauls and Ungauls. In combat, enemy models must direct their the fighting rank and basically, where is it? Gauls, here it is. Gauls always occupy the front rank. Ungauls making up rear ranks. As long as any Gauls remain in this unit, they will always push past any Ungauls to get to the front rank. They got a 25mm base, so have Gauls and Ungauls have kept their 25mm base. Sorry, Ungauls have gone up from a 20mm base to 25 in this edition, and Gauls are still 25mm base. So yeah, so you against shooting, basically you want loads of Ungauls because they take the brunt of the shooting attacks. Toughness 3, no save is, well, you want to get rid of them. They're a bit rubbish. But then Gauls are the ones in combat. So actually the way that they've written this is pretty cool. And actually a bit like a shield wall in that in like your kind of your Saxons and that kind of period when the Saxons were invading Britain. Essentially how, well, I suppose, I guess, and later until the shield wall died. When did the shield wall die? I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, so in the shield wall, you'd have all your veteran troops at the front actually forming the shield wall because that's the most important bit. And then you'd have a load of idiots behind who are sometimes even barely armed, just pushing. Because if you could shove your opponent over, then the battle is won. Then you've pretty much won the battle. Which is partially why I like rugby, because it's a bit like that. Shoving. Lots of shoving. So that's the primal warherds. I think they're pretty cool. They can take shields, which is pretty much normal. They don't have any armor other than shields, so they don't now. So this is not a downgrade, and that's why they're so cheap, because they've got nothing to protect them against anything. They just die. I say nothing to protect them. They've got slug skin to make them -1 to hit. And another chaos mutation to make them -1 to hit shooting. So you can quite happily make your big unit of with all your new points for magical stuff. You can make your big unit -1 in both, which is pretty cool. You might want to do that. Is he going to go through the Praeton separately? Or yeah. Right, so before we move on to the Praeton, now I want to move back to that previous. Where's the bit where I zoomed in? There we go. Right, so warped Gauls were just an option they are just an option in the new herd thing. They're basically Forsaken Gauls. They don't have the Chaos Armor 5-up rule that Forsaken have. They are a lot cheaper than Forsaken, to say the least, because basically they don't have any save. Well, they can take it. They've got a shield, so they've got a 6-up save, which is amazing. You can pay for a champion, which gives +1 leadership for 8 points. No additional attack, which is a bit weird. You can have command. Warp Gauls can have command. So, like, if you've got Zarngors or Corn Gauls or Pestigors, you could possibly use them as these. Although, if you've got Pestigors or Corn Gauls, you're just going to use them as Pestigors with a mark, really, aren't you? So you would with Zarngors, aren't you? And they never did any Slanesh little Gauls. Slime Gauls are always big. So, yeah. Big goat with a big with the big horn. Um, so yeah, so they've got the same Blessings of Chaos thing. So basically, at the start of combat, they're either AP2 +1 toughness or poisoned, which I think is the same as the Forsaken effects. They have Armored Hide 1, sorry, so they've got a 5-up save, including their free shield, so heavily armoured. Oh, they get Blood Rage as well, so they get Primal Fury. You know, again, if they roll a double, it's D3 +2 attacks each, which that's pretty cool. So they can have lots and lots of attacks. You do want to give them Frenzy, really, don't you? So Dark Magic is a good one because it's got a spell that gives a unit Frenzy. So, if you know, you could have like a unit of 10 of these. 160 is quite a lot for this kind of unit. They don't have Skirmish, which has annoyed me. And they don't have Close Order either. They're only Open Order, so they can't get. So they're a bit limited. I don't know whether they're good or not. One unit in your army can be ambushes. I mean, I think that might be the use case, but they've only got a 5-inch move, and you can't, unlike, I'm gesticulating at the screen now, but you can't, unlike with Forsaken, where you can do Forsaken of Slanesh and give them Swift Stride, for instance, you can't do that with these Warp Ghouls. Or Forsaken by Khorne and give them Killing Blow, which are the two you usually see. You can't do that with these. So I'm a bit meh. Primal Warhounds can essentially have an Ungor Ravager for every 3 Primal Warhounds. So Primal Warhounds are better than Warhounds because you get Herders, which have movement 7. Hurrah! And they're always at the back, basically. But they got like loads of cool. Sorry, I keep forgetting to turn off my mic when I clear my throat. The handler is 7 points and basically gives the unit an extra 2 leadership. They can fight in the second rank when they charge. So, is it now worthwhile taking a horde? You could consider it. I mean, it's got to have 10 models, so you could have. I guess you could have 9 dogs and 1 Ravager for your 10. That's not bad. Or 8 dogs and 2 Ravagers, maybe? Or you could have 7 dogs and 3. No, you couldn't. You can have 1 per every 3. So you could have 8 and 2 as a sort of an MSU unit. Not sure how useful that is, really. Right, let's do Praeton. New monstrous creature. It has... Oh yeah, it does have Fly 10. It doesn't have Swift Stride. So it's quickish. But it doesn't have Swift Stride, which is a problem. Anybody can have it as a special 0-1 as a special choice. Sorry, the normal Grand Army. It's got AP2 Armor Bane 1 attacks. If it wins a round of combat and chooses to restrain, any enemy models within 6 inches must take a panic test, as if a nearby friendly unit had been destroyed. It's got D3 impact hits, no stomps. Impact hits of Armor Bane 1 and AP 1, which Strength 5, D3, maybe kills one thing. It is a large target and does cause terror. So, I don't know. It can be put in ambush. I think that's its use case, really, isn't it? 170 points for that to be an ambush. The problem is, if you bring it on to kill cannons, I think a cannon kills it. Certainly, if there's 2 artillery pieces, this is pretty much dead. So, I say that, actually. I've had Tomb Scorpions survive a load of cannons being shot at them before, so this is less survivable because it's only got heavy armour and that's it. No regen or anything. Yeah, 4 wounds isn't great. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Oh, there's the Herdstone. So, unique type of special feature. So, blah, blah, blah. measuring no wider than 6 inches at its widest point. That is massive. That's a massive base for a Herdstone. May be included as a special choice in any Beastman Brayherds using any army composition list. So it says, unless stated otherwise, a single Herdstone may be included as a special choice in any Beastman army. I think in the Minotaur herd, it being in core means that you can't have this as well as a special. That's how I'd read that. Stop saying It make you sound so thick. I can hear myself saying it and it's annoying me. Apologies if it's annoying anybody else. I don't know where it's come from. I try to avoid filling silence with noises in real life because it annoys me. Anyway. Once players have finished placing deployment, it can be put anywhere not within 6 inches of the centre and not in opponent's deployment zone and not within. So you can put it like right on the edge of their deployment zone. I've done it again. It's once you've finished placing terrain, not and have rolled for deployment. So you know who's going to be dropping first at this stage, but you've picked sides. So then you drop the Herdstone. Can be controlled by a single unit within 6 inches that has a unit strength of 5 or more and is not fleeing. If 2 or more are eligible, whoever's closest. If they're equally close, is contested, nobody controls it. What special rules do you get from this huge erection? You get a tingle in the air. The air around the Herdstone tingles strangely, and those that stand too close report of a funny taste in their mouths. The unit that controls the Herdstone gets Magic Res 1. Bestial Fury. If the Herdstone is controlled by Brayherd's unit, friendly Beastman Brayherd's unit, though within 12 inches of the Herdstone, may re-roll any rolls to wound of a natural 1 when engaged in combat. Obviously, if there's 2 Beastman armies, that applies to both, and both their Herdstones, both of them can be captured by both players. Dark Sorcery. Beastman Wizards get +1 to cast. Enemy Wizards, -1 to cast, if it's controlled by Brayherds. Controlled by Brayherds. Yeah. So every army can get Magic Res 1 for controlling it. Brayherds, if they control it, they get +1 to cast within 12. They get reroll 1s to wound within 12, and they get -1 leadership when taking fear, panic, or terror within 12. It's worth 200 victory points at the end of the battle, so you're going to want to fight over it because it's 200 points. So you can plop it down, plop your big mega unit down near it, stick Crowmore near it, stick his little leering companion near it, and then with your big mega unit, just sit there and, let your ambushers trade points for you. There's a nice picture of Morgur there. The Shadow gave, which I think this fellow is the... Oh no, it's the other one, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Right, we've got the Law of Primal Magic. Does he do his own? He does. Oh, I've got it in the middle of a transition. Right. You have... So, the signature spell is a Vortex, which doesn't move. It's treated as... So, you got... So basically, this Primal Magic Law, I think, is cool because of the 2 vortices. So the signature spell Vortex is a small blast template. Whilst within 6 inches of the template, enemy units are -1 leadership and treat open ground as difficult terrain. Now, remember, Kralmore is -1 leadership. This thing is another -1 leadership. If you're within 12 of the stone, you're -1 leadership for fear, terror, or panic. Right. So we've got -3 to your leadership already, just with 3 fairly simple effects. Oh yeah, and treat open ground as difficult terrain. So you can put this. So you can put like your main unit there, leave a gap for a cavalry unit or whatever, and then just plop the template over there. So people have to travel through it to charge a big unit, which means they're rolling 2 dice and taking the lowest, regardless of whether they got moved through terrain or whatever. Which makes Swift Stride so much less likely, because the chances of you getting a 1 on one of those 2 dice or a 2 on one of those 2 dice is pretty high. And that doesn't mean the other one's going to be a 6 now, does it? So your charges, on average, go from... If you've got Swift Stride, your average charge distance, I think, is about 8.2. Something like that. But if you do this, it goes down to something like 4.2. 4.6 or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, yeah, so that's amazing. That is... As a spell, I think that's pretty good. It's only cast on a 9. It's easy cast. Central holes within 12. That's not too bad. The other one is Neath the Shade and Wardespan. They've gone like really Saxon with a lot of this stuff, haven't they? I think this is pretty cool. I mean, I really like it as like a Schlachtorzier, there's like a big sort of Saxon army sort of thing. It's pretty cool. And like, it annoys me when people say stuff like fantasy writers are racist, because this is like, all of this is like very, very Saxon, very, very old Germanic, Old English. Apologies. Too much talking. Need to stop. Oh, I'm up to an hour. Why can my voice box not last an hour? I might be coming down with something. Right. Neath the Shade and Wardespan. Or maybe it's my subconscious saying, don't get onto politics. People don't like it. Right. Because my political views are like... I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think well thought through and not aligned with any ideology. So I try to avoid talking politically to anybody, because essentially nowadays society's become so polarized that people automatically assume you're not on their side if you start saying things that the other side sometimes say. And I think actually there are a variety of unique and worthwhile perspectives on both sides. There is a ton of crap on both sides as well, of stuff that's just plainly, we've come up with this conclusion and therefore we're going to make it reasons as to why. There's a lot of stuff that's ideologically driven on both sides, and I just personally don't like ideologies as a general concept. I think they don't work. I think if you restrict your worldview to this, you miss everything. And sometimes with your ideological focus, you can actually see the truth, which is why on both sides, a lot of these, but people who are like fully right or fully left, they don't know how to think in a balanced manner. And that's the problem that we have with global geopolitics at the moment. There's very few people that actually seem to get to office because of how polarized society has become. And we've all done that. We all vote for these people. So, we collectively, we bear responsibility. But the people who get there are so ideologically focused that they can't see a good idea and recognise it as such when it is essentially laid in front of them. They can't see the cake because it's the wrong colour. Like, they're sat there saying, I want cake, and I want a red cake. Yes, but, well, here's a cake. I mean, it's blue. Oh, no, I definitely don't want that. It's a blue cake. But it's cake. It's a good cake. Just eat the cake. No, it's blue. it's very weird how. Anyway, so that's why I try not to talk about it, because, if I. And the other thing is, like, once you abandon ideologies and you start to think things through, you start to look at the bits that people say that make sense, but then work out the little noodly problems with the things that they've said too. So, for instance, there is, I think, a fairly balanced and nuanced take that you could take on. Pick any culture war topic, right? And sometimes I think the right have sort of, they've got the right nub of the idea. They're just bad actors and badly presenting it, or the left, same. They've got the nub of the idea. They're just a bit too bad faith to actually present a complete solution to a problem. And I think that's the other problem with ideologies, in that, if you cookie cutter every concept with your ideology, you're going to cut off a lot of stuff that's actually quite good. So there's a lot of detail and nuance, I think, that gets missed because of that, because it doesn't fit into the, no, I have this ideological cup, I am not allowed to see it runneth over, it must be filled exactly with as much answer as it can hold, and that's all I can take. And then as soon as it starts to overflow, no, don't want that. No, that's too much. We just need a quick sip. A quick sip of Kool-Aid for the masses. And then they'll vote for us. And that's how, anyway, I'm getting Neath the Shade and Vorderspan, which is a bit kind of Saxon, which is how I got there. An anti-white racism. Grr, but I don't care. Like, Beastmen, I'll identify with that. Came out wrong. I didn't mean that. Anyway, it's another remains in play. It's the large blast template. So you get a small and a large blast template. You're not going to use them for anything else. So this is giving Beastman players something to use their templates for. Is the assailment? Oh no, the assailment is the blast as well. So I said that and then I realised that's wrong. Right. Remains in play. Doesn't move. Treat as dangerous terrain over which no line of sight can be drawn. So this Neath the Shade and Vorderspan is like setting up an evil wood. Oh, I want the hanging tree from The Witcher. Yeah, that's a good modelling project, isn't it? Right, anyway. Treat as dangerous terrain over which no line of sight can be driven. Whilst within 6 inches of the template, enemy units suffer -2 modified to their ballistic skill. -2 to their ballistic skill. Any enemy unit that ends its movement within 3 of the template must immediately take a panic test. If it's failed, the unit will flee directly away from the nearest enemy unit, which is not itself fleeing. -2 to ballistic skill. Huh. That's pretty cool. What range is it? 8? Is that 15? I think that's a 15, isn't it? So it's 15-inch range. Central hole is within, so you can go 15. So it's 17.5. And then whilst within 6. So 23 and a... Oh, that's interesting. So from the caster, the longest range is 23.5. And it's a vortex, so you get to cast it in the shooty phase. So actually, you could pop your wizard forward a little bit and then cast it so the outside effect is basically within your enemy's territory. But it does block line of sight as well. So you don't even need to do that, really. You're going to force your opponent to like move around it as well, and they're going to have to take a wide berth. So that's pretty nasty for essentially armies with like lots of poisoned arrows, that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. And also, like, you don't have shooting. So this, like, anti-shoot is absolutely perfect for Beastmen. It's fantastic. It's cast on a 10, so you're going to need a level 4 for that, really. But, yeah, fucking great. And that. Love them both. Anyway. Cool. I'm getting a real hankering for beasts. also sounded weird. There's loads of innuendo that you can do. Oh, I need to do an innuendo army, don't I? Oh, you beast. Call of the Wild is a conveyance, cast on 8, range 12. Cast for any models who are infantry or cavalry. Not monsters then. Until the end of turn, gets reserve move. Oh, that's pretty good too, isn't it? So you can move your wizard forwards, cast that, and then use Call of the Wild to pop back. Nice. So it's 23, so effectively you could get the long range to be like almost 25, 26 from your deployment zone if you're 24 away. So you can easily hit them with this effect, I think. Cool. In the Gloaming Wildwood, Hex 10, 15. So the cast of 10 is difficult. Remains in play, enemy unit fears all models in the caster's army. Remember we had a -1 leadership to fear, didn't we? From the stone. So if you're within 12 of the, you're probably within, so you're going to have to get quite close. You're going to have to take a fear test. That fear test, actually, where this is going to be most useful. Enemy unit has charged your big block of stuff that's being propped up by the herdstone. So you've put the herdstone behind the unit so they can't be pushed back. So you're never out of combat, basically. Your unit's been... your unit's won. You've made them fall back in good order or push back, and now it's their turn. And you don't want them to be in combat, so you don't follow up. They're now at probably at -3, possibly even -4 leadership, and they fear you. So they can't charge. Pretty much. They'll probably fail that fear test and stand there looking like lemons. You have this Assailment Flock of Doom. It's a template. It's got multiple wounds 2, strength 3, no AP, pretty shit. And it scatters. But it only hits enemy models. So if it scatters over your unit, no problem. But it's still crap. You're going to swap Flock of Doom out for Gloom all day, I think. Fury of the Beast. Until the end of the turn, caster on the unit gains Fighting Extra Rank special rule. That's an enchantment. It's range self. So you can cast... you can't cast that in combat, can... Oh, no. Enchantments you can cast in combat. Oh, can you? Bloody hell, Dan. You're supposed to be the Oracle. You were the chosen one! No, I wasn't. Not at all, actually. Right. What was I looking at? Oh, yeah. Enchantment. Every law's got one of everything, I think. Enchantment. Where's the rules for bloody... Why? So it can only be cast by... those can't. Was it enchantments or hexes? Or was it range self? There's a thing about casting spells into combat. I think you can cast while you're in combat if you've got a range self enchantment, but I can't remember exactly. I'm sure Grimgore is in the idiot. I'm sure Grimgore is in the comments already. Magic. Can cast range self while engaged in combat. That's it. Yeah. Right. Glad I've cleared that up. So that can be cast in combat because it's range self. Anything else that's range self? No. Strangle Root is a magic missile with a casting value of something or other. I think that's a 9. 4d6 Straight line, D3 strength 3 hits, AP2. Everybody that's under the line. No enemy models under the line. That's pretty cool, because you can cast it backwards through your own unit, obviously. So you could hit somebody behind. Yeah, D3 strength 3 hits, AP2. That's not great, but you could hit lots of units, actually, so you could generate quite a lot of hits. And again, if you had Hag Tree Fetish, you could re-roll those as well. Strangleroot's not so good. Fury of the Beast is okay. In the Gloaming Wildwood is pretty good in combination with other stuff. Call of the Wild is quite useful, but most of the stuff can march anyway, so reserve move. You don't have shooting, so you're not going to pop out shooting then. You use it on wizards, I guess, to pop them out, cast a spell, and then pop back. Fury of the Beast is okay, I think. I mean, but don't you have like spears anyway for most of your units? So am I being a bit thick? Where was the unit? Where was the... Not them. Oh no, it was after, wasn't it? Primal war herds can take thrusting spears. Yeah. Throwing spears, you get an extra attack, a fighting extra rank when you charge, and thrusting spears, you get fighting extra attack when you don't charge, basically. So it can take one or the other. You're going to take thrusting anyway, so you got fighting extra rank. I guess it's probably quite useful on Bestigors, that spell. It's over here, isn't it? So if you've got a unit in some Bestigors, getting them fighting extra rank is quite nice. Especially with great weapons. In fact, you could do something quite janky with that, but... Oh, there's a close-up of Morgur again. There's a lot of stuff on Morgur in this. Oh, no, that's not. That's, Krelmor. Krelmor. We've done Goros. Onto the magic items. That one looks better. Right. Black Maul. That was loud. Sorry, did it again. Combat. Strength +2. Extra attacks D6. If you roll a 6, it's -1 weapon skill for the rest of the game. But you still get your extra 6 attacks. Amazing. Great. AP3. Fantastic. 80 points, actually not that expensive, given the fact that with your Warlord, Beastman, Chieftain, Beastlord, that's it, has 125 points of these bad boys now. So you can take the Black Maul, and you can also take the full plate Chaos Armor. You can now give your Beastman characters Chaos Armor, which gives them the 5 at ward, like Chaos Warriors get, but they also get the armor save and can be worn by wizards without penalty. So 40 points for full plate and a 5 at ward, absolute bargain, especially to stick on a bloody on a shaman, absolutely amazing. Or on a beast lord, 4+ save, 10, well, somewhere between 6 to 8 attacks on average, at strength 7. AP3. Pretty good. Axes of Kulgor are extra attacks. Reroll wound rolls of 1. Brass Cleaver is... Enemy models are not permitted armor, ward, or regen save if you roll a 6 when rolling to wound. So it's like super cleaving blow, sort of. Scimitar of Skultar is multiple wounds 2 for 25 points. Decent for a unit champion, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Chaos Armor is amazing. I mean, they're basically anybody can take a 5 at ward save, and it comes with some free heavy armor. more or less. It's the same as Talisman of Protection. Well, in fact, it's not, because it's in the armor section. So for wizards, it's great. Like, yeah, Bray Shaman will be loving this. Fur of Shargu may be worn with other armor. Improves their armor save by 2 to a maximum of 2 against non-magical shooting attacks. Less good. Less good because, you know, you should be in a unit or near somebody. So if you're needing this, you've fucked up. Chalice of Dark Ruin, single use, therefore rubbish. No, it's 50 points. So it's quite expensive. Until your next start of turn sub phase, the range of all enemy missile weapons is halved, rounding fractions up, and enemy war machines cannot shoot. It's pretty cool, especially now. It works against, you probably won't see it at tournaments, and the reason is because it works against people with missile weapons, and it doesn't work against that high elf dragon list. Not really. It doesn't work against chaos dwarves. It doesn't really work against tomb kings. I mean, yeah, it kills off their mega poisoned, attack unit thing, because they can take a big unit of like 40 skeleton bowmen with poison attacks, or more actually, for quite cheap. It turns off your orc and goblin, but it really only turns off basically their one unit for one turn. So, not so good. For 50 points, not so good. If it was 30, you might see it, because it's worth the risk. Because it does nothing against Chaos Warriors, obviously. Cornucopia of Corpulence. Any enemy models in base contact must take a toughness test. If it's failed, they lose a single wound. Actually, for 30 points, I'll take that. Maybe. I mean, it'd be pretty good on like a Gore Lord, Gore. What the bloody hell are they called? Minotaur Lord thing. Are they just called Minotaur Lords? Doom Bowl. That's it. Got some banners. Got the Gore banner. Unit wishing to declare a charge must first take a leadership test. Another leadership test, eh? If it's failed, cannot charge. I mean, I guess if you've got that spell on it, which means they count as fear, they're going to have to take 2 leadership tests, maybe, to charge a big unit at -2 or 3 leadership. You could really stack stuff. Bearer of the banner may attempt the leadership test. If the test is passed, any enemy units. Oh, well, that's 45 points. Like Games Workshop, we really, really have to have words. Really have to have words. Like, if you. Oh no, that's the Arcane Journal. If you are going to give a faction that can actually build a pretty strong shooting list, plus, and you're going to give them this 40 points. I guess the extra 5 points is because it's a banner. So you can. It's a banner, so you can. Sorry, I live next to the park. People do weird things from time to time. Yeah, it's a banner, so you can keep it in a unit. I guess, yeah, it's pretty good. Unit carrying the beast banner, maximum possible charge range by 3, makes a charge roll, may apply an extra D3 to the result. I think that's probably good for Centaurs. Which, I mean, why would you take them though? They're so expensive. Are they? Yeah, because they're like as expensive as bloody the Orc and Goblin Cavalry, Pig Riders. What are they called? Them. War Boars. God, my memory's not doing so great today, is it? Yeah, so they're about the same cost as them. So I don't know why you take them. Soiled Tapestry gains. I don't know. It's probably not very good. Oh, hold on. Soiled Tapestry gains hatred. Oh, yeah, hatred everybody. But everybody hates them. It's that one. Then we've got Horn. I've done it. We've got Horn of the Great Hunt. Has he zoomed in? No. Is it a little bit clearer? There. Once per turn after rolling to determine... here we go. This is the one that the ambush one that you want. Once per turn after rolling to determine a unit with the ambush special rules. And if the bearer of the horn is on the battlefield and not fleeing, you may apply +1 or -1 modifier to the result. So that's after rolling it. So you've got your re-roll from the horn if they've not turned up. And then even if you then roll a 3 the next time, you can just add 1 to that result. So that's pretty good. Scourge of the Burdened can cast Call of the Wild from Law of Primal Magic. Was Call of the Wild fight an extra attack, was it? No. That was reserve move. Ah. I think that'll see play. I think that'll see play for 25 points on a normal unit champion to give their unit reserve move. Or with a little hero that's in some Ungor skirmishers. They're a thing. Maybe. I think that'll see play. Cacophonous Dirge. Whilst their unit is within 18 inches of the enemy units within 18 inches can't use Onward to Victory, Steadying Rhythm, or Quick Time. These rules are: Onward to Victory is you can't use it as a tiebreaker if the combat's a draw. You can't get +1 leadership when trying to march within 8 inches of an enemy. You can't use +1 leadership when attempting to rally. Permanent. 15 points. That's brilliant. That's great for a unit champion because it turns off that... basically just turns off enemy musicians. Because the other rule... Yeah, so that's all the musician rules, all 3 of them. So it just turns off enemy musicians within 18 inches. Does that really say? It does say 18 inches for 15 points. Brilliant. That gives you such an advantage. Excellent. This will definitely see play. You can put that on a unit champion. In fact, you could put it on like a little Gore unit champion of like a little unit of 5 Gores that hide behind the main block and just sit there all game, just turning off musicians. Very nice. Blood of the Shadow Cave. These are arcane items now. Single use. This is Dispel. It's the old-fashioned Dispel Scroll. 35 points. It's quite cheap for an old-fashioned Dispel Scroll. You see them at 40 quite often. This is the one that... So when I was talking about the Minotaur list and you want to be a bit defensive, you could upgrade him to like just a level 1 actually. Give it Demon Heart, right? So when attempting a Dispel, the bearer of the Demon Heart counts their level of wizardry as being 1 higher than that of the wizard whose spell they are dispelling. So basically what that means is you've got to equal their roll or better. So when dispelling, as long as you equal it or get better and you have this item, you dispel it. So really good defensive magic item. And obviously, if you've got like your Doom Bull with this as a general of your army, right? He's going to be right in the thick of it, right in the middle anyway. So, yeah. Well, I guess that's also a bit of a problem in that you can't dispel if you're in combat. So, maybe you do want to keep it outside on like a little Bray Shaman, just sort of floating around dispelling everything. And then finally you got Goretooth, which basically gives you access to the lore of the primal magic for... It's 15 points for a Bray Shaman or a Great Bray Shaman in a big list to access primal magic. And that's it. Actually, that's it. I mean, personally, I really like this army of infantry, whatever it was called, the Wild Herd. I think it's pretty cool. I really like the extra ambush stuff. I really like all the extra ambush rules. I like the extra magic points. I think that gives you so much flexibility to actually write really good characters. Because, I mean, basically, the stat lines that you get given, that's essentially your start point, right? This is vanilla. And then you add magic items and gifts and stuff to enhance them, right? So, and now you can take an extra 25 points. In this list, you can take an extra 25 points of mutations. You can only take it once per army, but that means your Lord, -1 to hit in the combat phase. You could easily give it that now. You could give it stubborn and other stuff. You could give it +1 strength. You remember it's got 75 and other stuff. You could give it slug skin and rune of the beast descendant, so +1 leadership within 12 inches because it'll be the general. You could give it that and gnarled hide and uncanny senses. You know, you probably wouldn't. I'd probably just stick with gnarled hide and slug skin. And then with the battle standard bearer in the same unit, you could then give that one pelt of midnight, which is pretty cool. So, you know, you could have your big unit -1 to hit in combat and -1 to hit in shooting, and the ability to pretty much put all their shooting units at -2 BS means you can just turn off their shooting. You don't need that magic item to do it because you've got other ways of doing it. So, super, super, super good. I really like that. I really like this. Yes. And, you know, 125 points of magic items. Like, it's not game breaking. It just allows you to spend the points that you want to make the character that you want. Like, you could take that new axe, the one that gives you +d6 hits, and then give it the chaos armor and give it the thing. So it's got a 3-up save, and you could give it a shield as well. So that's then a 2-up save, 5-up ward, extra d6 attacks, at strength 5, AP 3. That's pretty nice. You've also, you know, you could save a few points and go for the Primeval Club, which I quite like, which is also AP 3. And Poisoned, which I think is strength is equal to the current leadership character. Now you're probably going to be strength 10 because of Warband. So Primeval Club, all your normal attacks, strength 10, AP 3, Poisoned. That's pretty nice as well. So whether you want the extra attacks or the extra strength, really. Yeah. And then you've got some pretty decent... you can cause terror, which affects others, which can be affected by other things. All enemy models within 6 inches of the model carrying Manbane standard is -1 modifier to leadership. So you know, going back to that hypothetical scenario, I knew there was another way to do it. You could get them -1 leadership. You could go for a unit of Gauls and Ungauls, not give them shields, and give them all like extra hand weapons, and go for this because they've got no armor save anyway, so that's a debuff to your opponent. There's so much cool stuff that you can do. There's that hag tree fetish thing. It's a magic missile. You know, they've got so many cool rules as well. They've got all the gaze of the gods. I think they're really good. Ooh, my microphone appears to be getting a bit loose. I think they're really good. What they don't have is Swift Stride, and it's Swift Stride that rules the meta a bit at the moment because it just allows you to move around the table a lot more quickly. So Swift Stride's a bit of an issue. But yeah, other than that, I think they're really, really good. And I think another bit of news that's come out today, and that I will do another vid on, is the new match playbook that's going to be coming out soon. So I'll do another vid on that. Maybe now. It won't take that long. Oh, bugger it. Let's just talk about it now. No. Keep it as a separate thing. More content is better, apparently, according to the algorithm gods. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. I hope you found that interesting. If you have, leave a like, and if you're still kicking around, then you probably have subscribed. But if you haven't, you probably should if you're still here, listening to me waffle on and say an interminably infuriating number of times is it's a good test of character. And I need a new keyboard as well, because this one just doesn't seem to want to work. I can't stop saying for some reason today. It's really annoying me. Right, I shall close the vid here and say toodaloo, and hope you some happy hobbying. Bye.